हे एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय चैनल फीलियर जितेश। मैं आज आप लोगों के लिए पॉलिटी के लेक्चर्स बहुत ही फेमस कोचिंग के अपलोड कर रहा हूँ। प्लीज़ कोई स्ट्राइक कोई कंप्लेन मत कीजिएगा, ये सिर्फ उन लोगों के लिए हैं जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते हैं। मैं पहले ही माफ़ी मांग रहा हूँ, बाद में आप लोग ये मत कहिएगा कि आप चोरी कर रहे हो, ऐसा कर रहे हो, वैसा करो। देखिए, मेरे को भी कहीं से मिले तो मुझे लगा कि उन स्टूडेंट्स के लिए डाल दिए जाएँ, जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते। मैं भी उनमें से ही हूँ एक। मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप लोग इसका भरपूर इस्तेमाल करें, अच्छे से पढ़ें। दीज आर दी बेस्ट लेक्चर्स एंड मैं भी इससे पढ़ रहा हूँ, आप लोग भी इससे पढ़ो। एंड कोशिश करूँगा जल्द से जल्द सारे लेक्चर्स डाल दूँ। तो प्लीज़ अच्छे से पढ़िए। अब सही समय है सही से तैयारी करने का, तो अच्छे से तैयारी करिए। चलिए, आई होप यू विल लव दी लेक्चर्स। प्लीज़ लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब माई चैनल।
बस एक ही बार बहुत है। हाई मतलब एनर्जी हाई। ओके, बताओ सर, आर्टिकल 54 व्हाट इज इट? हाँ जी, आर्टिकल 53 व्हाट इज इट? एग्जीक्यूटिव पावर्स ऑफ द प्रेसिडेंट। Executive power of the union is vested in the president. Okay, now see, if I ask you, question comes, what do you mean by union executive? Who all will come in this union executive? कौन आएगा उसके अंदर? President, Vice President, COM, Attorney General. Okay, we'll take them one by one. Today's class very interesting. Article 54 is the election to the office of president. ठीक है? What is the basic principle behind election to this office? Two principles. See, now I see that many people are coming to me with few doubts. No problem. They should come and I encourage people coming to me with doubts. बहुत अच्छी बात है. But problem ये है that you are getting this doubt because now you are reading the things after a gap of 1 week or 2 weeks. Few things I took in so in-depth manner, simplifying them beyond the possibility of simplification. And now also, if you feel that बताया तो था but कुछ ठीक से याद नहीं आ रहा, it means that you did not revise it then. I keep telling this, आज जो पढ़ा है उसको कल revise करो. Next day you read it from Lakshmikant also to cement it. Because if you give a gap of even 2 days, फिर confusion शुरू हो जाता है mind के अंदर. Because see, example, amendability of fundamental rights. Or what is the use of directive principles of state policy in determining the scope of fundamental right? To what extent fundamental duties are used by the courts? ये सारी चीजें क्या हैं? They are highly delicate. Intricate understanding is required, which I gave in depth in this class, and I am sure that day you took it also. But since you did not revise, now when the days will pass, you will feel that you are getting confused on one thing or other, or you are forgetting something. कुछ बोला तो था, और अगर कुछ बोला भी था, then you have the recording with you or not. You can access the previous lectures or not. You should open it. Believe me, do not leave anything to confusion. Not the factual part. Factual part तो वहीं के वहीं रहेंगे. Understanding part की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. Okay. For example, which is more important? अभी मैं आपसे एक क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ. Which is more important? बताओ सर, फंडामेंटल राइट और डीपीएसपी? Who will prevail over whom? Fundamental right over DPSP or DPSP will prevail over fundamental right? He is right. Generally, fundamental right shall prevail over the directive principles. However, the two directive principles, that is Article 39B and 39C, they will prevail over two fundamental rights. कौन से हैं? 14 and 19. Because 31 has been removed. तो उसका तो कोई सवाल ही नहीं उठता. Now 19B and C. बताओ सर क्या चीज है ये 19BC? 139B क्या है सर? बी देखा देखा तो लग ही रहा है. बताओ. Material resources of the society shall be distributed to subserve the common good of everyone. सबको बेनिफिट मिलना चाहिए. 39C क्या है बोलो सर? साफ है. नो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ वेल्थ. बट देखो बात ये है ना, इसको रटना अभी तो है. Just reading and understanding is only half of the story. Unless you mug it up, internalize it, you will not be able to play with it. And in prelims, they want people who are so comfortable with the information that they can juggle with the information. Or if they juggle the information, you are able to understand this juggling. उसके लिए information का आपके हाथ में होना बहुत जरूरी है. And for that, you will need not one revision, numerous revisions of one thing again and again and again. एक ही चीज को 10-20 बार पढ़ो. For example, if I ask you who conducts the oath on the president, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. CGI. अब ये प्योर रटिफिकेशन है. ये तो any day you can do. But I am talking about the intricate things. Amendability of the fundamental rights. For example, principle of natural justice, principle of eclipse. 31(1) क्या है? Article 13(1) क्या है? 13(2) क्या है? These things are not that factual also. They have an analytical base. और उसके लिए बार बार पढ़ना जरूरी है, उसको समझना जरूरी है. And reading between the lines is also required. And the day you do this, believe me, nobody can beat you. Okay. Elections of president is based on two principles: proportional representation and single transferable vote system. ये दो बेसिस है जिसके बेसिस पे इलेक्शन ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट होता है. Do we have nominated members in Rajya Sabha also? Or elected members? (233) members of Rajya Sabha MPs are elected and the remaining 12 are nominated. Nominated example? रेखा के अलावा भी तो तेंदुलकर भी तो बोल सकते थे. सचिन तेंदुलकर, रेखा, हाँ, राम जेठमलानी, जावेद अख्तर. बस. लोकसभा 2. And here ये है ना. MPs are in Rajya Sabha. These MPs are in Lok Sabha. No problem with that. Okay. How many states are having bicameral legislature? 7. Telangana bhi. Okay. The members of the legislative assembly in the state are called as, sir, MLA, and the members of legislative council, MLC. These MLAs are elected or nominated? All, or there are some nominated members also? एक nominated भी होता है ना, Anglo Indian. In legislative council, you have all members elected or all members nominated, or none or both? Both. यहाँ पर भी there are few members, MLCs, they are elected and the remaining are nominated by the governor. Elected, nominated. I take them in detail when I take up these particular topics. Okay, इस तरह से है. This structure is very important for your understanding of the whole legislative system of the country. So draw this. This is not only to be seen. ये understanding के लिए है. If you are very clear on this, no problem with that. Now, if I ask you a question, done with this. Now, if I ask you a question, who elects the President of India? क्या जवाब दोगे? Electoral College. Electoral College is a body of MLAs and MPs. In case of President election, President is elected by a body which that body is called as Electoral College. ये कोई college नहीं है. ये एक बॉडी है सर, बॉडी, इलेक्टोरल कॉलेज. और टेल मी वन थिंग, हु शुड बी outrightly rejected from this electoral college? Nominated. Only elected, यहां ध्यान से देखो, only elected members are members of this body which is there to choose or to elect the president. ठीक है सर, सिर्फ elected. इलेक्टेड एमपीज और एमएलएस टेक पार्ट इन द इलेक्शन ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट? पढ़ के आए हो ना आज तो आप? इलेक्टेड एमपीज और एमएलएस? बहुत बढ़िया. फोकस ऑन वन थिंग, ये ध्यान देना. Do not get confused. Only and only the legislators who are elected, not nominated. Nominated participate नहीं करते हैं. Only the legislators of the union legislature and the state level who are elected, they only participate in the election of president. Nominated नहीं करते. MPs भी करते हैं, MLAs भी करते हैं. MPs can be from Lok Sabha और Rajya Sabha, both. MLAs will be from assembly or council? Assembly, because council के members को तो MLC बोलते हैं, MLA नहीं होते वो लोग. ठीक है सर? This is clear till now? वो बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे, वो जब when we discuss state legislature. Right now just focus on the election of president. Deviate हो जाएगा ना वरना. And exception is only two union territories MLAs, Delhi and Pondicherry. They take part in the election of president, and they also started taking part in the elections of president after 70 Amendment Act 1992. उससे पहले ये भी नहीं करते थे participate. Okay, 70 Amendment Act 1992. Now this can be a potential question. Reason being, this time the issue of Delhi is going on. ठीक है ना? They started participating from the election of 1997. MLC चाहे इलेक्टेड या नॉमिनेटेड, वो करते ही नहीं है पार्टिसिपेट. सिर्फ तभी तो मैंने लिखा है MLA. डू यू फाइंड MLC? कहीं MLC लिखा ही नहीं. 7 सर, अमेंडमेंट के बाद. Now see, now let's come to something else. If you want to win the election of president, you need to have votes more than particular quota, और वो quota simple 50+1% votes मिलने चाहिए आपको, तब आप elected declare करे जाओगे. Quota is 50+1. This is the quota. इससे भी बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ये है. अब देखो, क्वेश्चन कैन कम in the elections of president, are the MLAs and MPs represented equally, or MPs have higher representation or MLAs have higher representation in the elections of president? सवाल है ये. In the election of president, are MPs having higher weightage or MLAs having higher weightage, और vote value किसकी ज्यादा है? Equal है, equal. They have formed such a good formula by which you see the voting value, weightage, चाहे वो vote MLA का है या MP का है. Now if you see, number of MLAs are more or not? भाई सारे MLA combined, they are much more than the number of MPs elected. In spite of this, these MPs, they are having a vote value which comes equal to the vote value of all these MLAs. मतलब for elections of president, the union legislature and the state legislatures, they are at par. दोनों बराबर पे हैं. Because as I told you, president is not only a representative of union, he is actually also in a way representative of states. तभी तो वो participate करते हैं उसके elections में. Okay sir? Clear? Now see, if somebody asks you, what is the value of vote of MLA, एक MLA का? कोई भी MLA हो सकता है. He can be an MLA from Odisha, he can be MLA from हरियाणा और उत्तर प्रदेश. लिखने के लिए है सर, ये डिक्टेट नहीं होगा ये बाद में। सवाल ये है, व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ वोट ऑफ एन एमएलए? टेल मी वन थिंग, आर ऑल द एमएलए फ्रॉम ऑल द स्टेट्स हैविंग सेम वैल्यू ऑफ द वोट? वैल्यू ऑफ वोट का मतलब समझते हो? इफ आई एम सेइंग समथिंग, व्हाट इज द वेटेज ऑफ व्हाट आई से इज द वैल्यू ऑफ माय वॉइस। ऐसे ही हर एमएलए जो वोट डालेगा उसकी वोट की स्ट्रेंथ क्या है? इज दिस स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द वोट ऑफ एमएलएज इक्वल अक्रॉस ऑल द स्टेट्स? Is it the case that the MLA from Uttar Pradesh, the weightage of his vote is equal to the MLA of Sikkim? No. तभी तो नाम दिया proportional representation. Here in the elections of president, every state is represented in proportion to the population of that state. समझ रहे हो? UP has got maximum population, so UP has more say in the elections of president. Sikkim has least say in the elections of president. Population wise कम है तो उसकी voice कम है elections of president में. Okay sir? Is it federal feature or is it a kind of anti-federal feature? ये anti-federal है. I told you last time also that when states are not having a parity in representation, भाई मेरे पास ज्यादा population है तो I should have more weightage. This may be democratic. Democratic तो है ही भाई. Obviously in democracy who should be given weightage? People. Now the states who are having more people should get more voice also. So democracy तो है ही, but this is somehow against the principle of federalism, because federalism requires that not only union and the states should be seen at par, but also all the states should be at the same level. It should not happen that one state is getting more weightage and other state is getting less weightage. But ये होता है in the elections of president, because presidential election is done on the basis of proportional representation. States having more population will have more voice, states having less population will have less voice. अब बात ये है वैल्यू ऑफ द वोट ऑफ वन एमएलए. एक एमएलए के वोट की वैल्यू कितनी है? फॉर एग्जांपल आई टेक द केस ऑफ, एग्जांपल के लिए आई टेक द केस ऑफ यूपी. टोटल पॉपुलेशन यूपी की, फॉर एग्जांपल इफ इट इज 100 एग्जांपल, एंड लेट्स से देयर आर हाउ मेनी एमएलएस? 25. What will be the value of vote? One vote of MLA? 4. In UP, MLA of UP, every elected MLA of UP, when he will put his vote, the weightage of his vote will not be 1, that will be 4. But this may not be true for other cases. For example, let's take the case of Odisha. Population, whose population is more, Odisha or UP? UP. So let's say the population of Odisha is, let's say 50. MLAs कितने हैं वहां पे? Let's say 10. तो वेटेज कितनी हो गई? ज्यादा हो गई. कोई बात नहीं, 75 कर दो. सॉरी, पॉपुलेशन कम करना पड़ेगा. इट इज 3. ज्यादा नहीं होगा सर, पॉपुलेशन के हिसाब से ही होगा. 3. इन उड़ीसा वन एमएलए द वेट ऑफ हिज वोट विल बी 3. समझ रहे हो? सो डिपेंडिंग ऑन द पॉपुलेशन एमएलए विल हैव वेट ऑफ हिज वॉइस इन द इलेक्शन ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट. यहां तक क्लियर है? अब ये तो थी वैल्यू ऑफ वोट ऑफ वन एमएलए. इसके बाद वी कैलकुलेट व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ votes of all the elected MLAs in the country. How should I arrive at that answer? Bas, value of vote of one MLA into number of MLAs will be the total value of votes. Now see, ये तो खत्म हुआ MLA की कहानी. And let me tell you, nobody will ask you to do this calculation in exam, but he might actually use that information to put a question in prelims. इसी के लिए सारा डिटेल में बताया जा रहा है आपको. अब एमपी के नंबर आता है. व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ वोट ऑफ वन एमपी? एक एमपी के वोट की वैल्यू क्या है, वेदर इज फ्रॉम लोकसभा और राज्यसभा. ओके, हाउ आर वी गोइंग टू अराइव एट दैट आंसर? बताओ सर. I committed an error, small error, in that particular 1000 से डिवाइड नहीं किया. We'll do that, don't worry. You understood this? ये कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आ गया आपको? See, all the elected MLAs across India, states की बात कर रहा हूं, only states, plus MLAs of Delhi, Pondicherry, you combine or you sum the value of their votes, that will come in the numerator. Then denominator, you write the total number of elected MPs. कितने elected MPs हैं total? बताओ. जल्दी यार, सी सेट दोगे नहीं दोगे? $776. For example, if this numerator is X, then नीचे आएगा 776. This will be the value of the vote of one MP. एक MP की ये है. Okay. But we want the value of the vote of all the MPs in India. Now see, I made a little mistake in that thing. When we calculate the value of vote of one MLA, then the formula is this. First is the population of that state divided by number of MLAs, elected MLAs of that state into 1/1000 भी करना पड़ेगा. I just forgot to write this 1000. 1000, you know why we divide this number with 1000? क्यों divide करते हैं? Yes, because see, population of the state will be in lakhs. बहुत बड़ी population हो जाएगी, crores में भी जा सकती है. So that number will be very high. So to bring that number to a lower level, easy to calculate also, we divide it by 1000. ये है formula. ठीक है sir? Now as I told you, nobody will ask you to write this formula in examination, but you must have this understanding who are participating in the election of president and who are not. और एक बात याद रखना, when we see, जब this final, you need not do final calculation, need not even remember the number. When the calculation is done, तो आप देखोगे that value of votes of all the elected MLAs will be less than, more than, or equal to, almost equal to the value of the votes of all elected MPs. सारे MLAs का जो वॉइस है और MPs का जो वॉइस है वो सिमिलर है. So it means, is it not a respect of federation? ये फेडरेशन का रेस्पेक्ट ही तो है. You are giving the weightage to states also, equal to the weightage given to यूनियन लेजिस्लेचर। सर ये बात समझ में आई नहीं आई? You know what is the meaning of whip? whip का मतलब क्या है? घुड़सवारी की है ना आपने, whip यूज होता है उसके अंदर। whip मारा तो घोड़ा क्या करता है? भागता है। तो whip हंटर को बोलते हैं बेसिकली इंग्लिश। whip इज लाइक अ कमांड यू गिव टू समबडी एंड दैट इज टू बी फॉलोड, उसको मानना पड़ेगा। whip होता क्या है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ ऑल ऑफ यू आर MLAs ऑफ माई पार्टी और यू आर MPs ऑफ माई पार्टी रिगार्डिंग एन इशू, आई विल गिव यू एन ऑर्डर, कल ये इशू उठने वाला है, यू शुड वोट दिस वे, यस या नो। आप डिसाइड नहीं करोगे, पार्टी बता देगी आपको पहले से ही, इसको वोट देना है, इसको वोट नहीं देना है। इसे कहते हैं whip। एंड इफ यू disobey the whip, action can be taken against you. Now see, in the election of president, people are contesting. For example, 4 people are contesting, A, B, C or D. अब आप किसको वोट दोगे? Will party tell you that? Party could have told you, but in the case of president, whip is not issued. President के election में you are free to give vote to anybody you like, but generally, informally, they know whom is to be supported by the party. Getting this? ये समझ में आया नहीं आया आपको? Beforehand, you appear for a particular voting, party has given you a command कि भाई इसको वोट देना और ऐसे वोट देना है। But in case of president, the whip is not issued by the party. You are almost free to give vote to anybody. Moreover, president election, the election is held by secret ballot or open ballot? Secret ballot. Means when you have casted your vote, to whom you have given the vote, nobody will come to know. ठीक है सर? मतलब अगर पार्टी ने बोला है you have to give vote to A और आपने क्या इसको दिया C को, nobody will come to know. तो पार्टी से खुंदक निकालने का बेस्ट टाइम क्या है? प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शन। किसी को पता नहीं चलेगा, कानो कान पार्टी का कैंडिडेट हार जाएगा। सीक्रेट बैलेट। ठीक है सर? इस पे 2 लाइन लिख लो, देन आई विल एक्सप्लेन द प्रोसेस ऑफ इलेक्शन। राइट डाउन। आर्टिकल 54, मैनर ऑफ इलेक्शन ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट। आर्टिकल 54 मैनर ऑफ इलेक्शंस ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट। ही इज इलेक्टेड, ही मतलब प्रेसिडेंट इज इलेक्टेड डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली? इनडायरेक्टली। वेरी गुड। प्रेसिडेंट इज इलेक्टेड इनडायरेक्टली by an electoral college, by an electoral college consisting of elected members of both the houses of parliament and elected members of state legislative assembly. State legislative assembly. After 70 Amendment Act, 70th, 70, after 70th Amendment Act 1992, the expression state, मतलब जो state वर्ड आपने लिखा ना, state legislative assembly, the expression state comes to include whom? Very good. Comes to include the union territories of Delhi and Pondicherry. Pondicherry, now name changed, but we love to use only Pondicherry. Okay. States on one hand, ये बहुत important है, states on one hand and parliament on other are equally represented in the electoral college. This means that, इसका मतलब है, president represents, this means that president represents the nation and also states at the federal level. President is elected, president is elected by a system of proportional representation through a single transferable vote system. Proportional representation. I am going slow so that you can read. Single transferable vote system, and the voting is held secret ballot or open ballot? Secret. Voting is held by secret ballot. Whip, WHIP, whip is not issued by the party as whom to vote. Now let me tell you, in Lakshmikant, he has done, at few places he has committed some errors. After all, he is also human. गलती तो इंसान से होती है. And Lakshmi is also इंसान. देखो, he said what? That the word proportional representation in the election of president is wrong. इसकी जगह नाम देना चाहिए था preferential voting. Now he is right also in a way, because if you see the procedure of election of president, a preference system is used. अभी बताऊंगा what is it. Anyways, but proportional representation भी नाम गलत नहीं है, or is it wrong? The name that presidential election is conducted according to proportional representation is it faulty? No. Because every state is participating in the elections of president according to the population or in proportion to the population of the state. If the population is more, the proportion of the voice of the state is more. अगर population कम है, तो आपकी voice कम है. Proportion में जा रही है ना? इसीलिए इसको नाम दिया proportional representation. Some people object to this. Right now. In this system, proportional representation system, in this system, states are represented in the electoral college in proportion to or in accordance, कुछ भी लिख सकते हो, in proportion to their population. और वो population is calculated with census. बहुत बढ़िया. According to 1971 census, population fix है 71 के हिसाब से. You know why we have fixed it? Did I tell you in this class? See what happened when we talk about that every state will have weightage in the election of president according to the population of the state, और वो population कितनी होगी, that depends on the 1971 census. Means what were the figures of the population of West Bengal will not be counted according to the current population. It will be counted according to the 1971 census figures. Kerala की population कितनी होगी, 1971 figures. Because see, there is a reason, and that has been fixed up to which year? Up to 2026. The same population of every state will go on, even if they have changed. Reason ये था that see, हाँ जी, ट्रांजिशन फेज नहीं, देखो परफॉर्मेंस देखो. द स्टेट्स ऑफ नॉर्थ, they were increasing the population like anything, but the states of south, they were able to control the population. Literacy भी high थी वहां पर, so they were able to bring down the population, or if not bring down, they could stabilize the population. यहाँ कम नहीं हो रहा था. Okay, the people of south said, we have contributed to the nation's progress by controlling the population, and what we got in return, our weightage in the election got reduced. तो नुकसान हो गया हमारा. Northern state said, is it our fault? Now government said the system, they gave the verdict in the favor of southern states. They said, right, after all, they are contributing to the nation's progress. Population come karna is a very good thing. So let's not endanger their interest and let's freeze this population to 1971. 2026 तक कितनी रहेगी? With the presumption that by 2026 the northern states will also come down. ठीक है सर, population wise. States were represented according to 1971 census. UP has largest representation and Sikkim has least. The president being elected. Now this is done. Single transferable vote लिख लो. Single transferable vote system. Second is single transferable vote system. अब ये क्या चीज है? Single transferable vote system. I am taking a hypothetical example. Try to understand that along with me. थोड़ा सा दिमाग लगाने की कोशिश करो. बताओ सर क्या नाम है आपका? आशीष कंट्रोवर्शियल हो जाएगा, बट चलो. See, these 5 people are voting for the elections of president. 4 candidates are contesting the election, A, B, C, D. Though this will not be 5, this will be much, much more. But I'm only taking an example. Okay, sir? Now see, in this election of president, these people will not only give one vote. वो एक vote नहीं देंगे. What they will do? They will give a list of preference of their vote. For example, Harsh will say, my first preference, मेरी पहली पसंद कौन है? He will say my first preference is C. And if not C, second line in choice भी तो होना चाहिए ना? What is that second, sir? If in case C loses the election, I have the another choice, B. B जीत जाए. और by chance B भी हार जाए, who should win? A. And my last preference is D. ठीक है sir? Similarly, Gaurav will say, these are people, the voters. Gaurav will say, I want A to win the election. मेरी पहली पसंद A है. If A does not win, I want C to win the election. In case C भी हार जाता है, D is my third preference and I hate B. सबसे कम B को पसंद करता हूँ. ठीक है? See, and similarly Joy will say, he can also have the same preference, no problem with that. हाँ, एक ही पार्टी के हो सकते हैं और otherwise also. Ashish will say, my first preference goes to, let's say, D. I want C as a second preference. Third preference is A. Fourth is B. And similarly, Saroj will say, my first preference is again C, B, A and D. Okay? Now, don't you see that they are not giving one vote. Every voter is giving preference of votes. इसको बोलते हैं, therefore Lakshmikant has given this word that this voting system in place of proportional system should be called as preferential voting system, because every voter is giving preferences of his vote. मेरी पहली preference C, second preference B, A and D. ठीक है? This is the reason. But we justified by saying that since proportion of the state population is becoming a criteria, it is proportional representation. देखो, now see, and to win the election, the candidate should get how many votes? 50 plus 1. More than 50% votes मिलने चाहिए किसी को भी. Unless a candidate gets that number of votes, he will not be declared winner. Let it be. Let the second round of voting take place. समझ लो sir? Now for the first round of voting, it happened. Example only, hypothetical चल रहा है मामला. 51. For example, after first round of voting, it happened that A got, let's say, A got 50, A got 49 votes. He got कितना बचा? ओके, सबने अपने वोट डाल दिए. एंड हाउ मेनी वोटर्स वर देयर? 100. इस तरह से 100 वोटर थे. ओके, सबने वोट डाल दिए. ए गॉट 45 नॉट वोट्स, फर्स्ट प्रेफरेंस वोट्स. मीन्स देर आर 45 पीपल apart from Joy and Gaurav who want A to win as their first preference. 45 लोग चाहते हैं कि A जीते. 44 people are giving first preference to B. 9 people are giving first preference to C and only 2 people are giving first preference to D. ठीक है सर? ये हुआ पहला. Now first round of voting, who won sir? कौन जीता बताओ? कोई भी नहीं, कोई नहीं. 51 है कोटा. You should get more than 51. So what we will do, we will eliminate the lame horse here. Who is the lame horse? D. Who has got the least number of votes. इनको भगाएंगे सबसे पहले. He is declared out of the contest. इनको तो भगा दिया. He was having the least first preference vote. Now we will not let these 2 votes go waste. इनको खाली नहीं जाने देंगे हम लोग. Now the people, ध्यान से सुनना, the people who voted D as the first preference, their votes will be checked again. किसने D को वोट दिया था? आशीष एंड सरोज. Now we will see, इनका first preference तो anyhow जीतेगा नहीं. We will see their second preference. Ashish gave second preference to C. So we will add one more vote to C. Saroj gave second preference to A. तो A में एक और addition कर देते हैं. Understood sir? अभी कितना हो गया? In the second round we came to know that A got 46, B got 44 and C got 10. ठीक है? Now again we will eliminate the C. Now again we will open the votes of the people who gave C as their first preference. जैसे कि यहां तो for ऐसे बना देते हैं. For example, we will see Joy. Joy had given votes first preference to C. ये तो वैसे ही waste हो चुका है इनका vote तो, because this fellow will not going to win. So we will see his second preference, that was A. So we will add one more vote to A, and now he has got 47, 44. And see, I just took a hypothetical example in which I oversimplified the things. Now this way, the voting will continue till the time one candidate out of those contesting candidates gets more than 50. and we keep on eliminating the people who are getting minimum, and those votes, the second preference is chosen and distributed accordingly. ठीक है सर, इसको कहते हैं सिंगल ट्रांसफरेबल वोट. मींस not only you take into account the first vote, if that candidate is not winning, you can transfer his second preference to the respective candidate. ट्रांसफर किया ना आपने, जॉय का सेकंड प्रेफरेंस वोट ट्रांसफर कर दिया नहीं कर दिया आपने एक ही अकाउंट में. दिस इज कॉल्ड एज सिंगल ट्रांसफरेबल वोट. इज दिस क्लियर? कोई डाउट नहीं है इसके अंदर तो? हाँ बोलो सर. क्योंकि एक ही मिला ना यार उसको, सी को तो एक ही एक्स्ट्रा वोट मिला ना, इन्होंने दिया था. ठीक है सर. नाउ दिस इज कॉल्ड एज, और ये तब तक चलेगा जब तक कि कोई 51 वोट नहीं ले लेता. बताओ सर. ओनली वीवी गिरी 1969 he got elected through second round of voting. Otherwise आज तक we never had second round of voting. सिर्फ वीवी गिरी को second round of voting से जिताया था. More than 50%. Second round of voting में ही मिला था उनको. Because already the other candidates were not there, no, they were not having even that much of. भाई जब बचा ही वो, अगर मान लो बाकियों को, अगर आप other people are already defeated, the remaining votes were consumed by the remaining candidates. हाँ we can go, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, बट दैट्स द डिटेल ऑफ इट. आप कॉन्सेप्ट समझे ना बेसिक. दिस इज इट. राइट डाउन, इसको भी लिख लो आप लोग. Single transferable vote system. Under this system, and please read what you're writing. Under this system, the elector has the right. Who was the only president who got elected unopposed? मतलब उनके केस में वोटिंग हुई नहीं थी. Dr. Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy, who was the 6th president of India, nobody contested against him. Unopposed ही जीत गए थे वो. इलेक्शन का भी झंझट खत्म. ठीक है सर. Unopposed. Write down. Under the system, the electors, single transferable vote system. Under the system, single transferable vote system. Under the system, the electors, ये लोग, has the right to indicate more than one preference of candidate. And he can indicate as many preferences as there are candidates in the contest. As there are candidates in the contest. In the first round of voting, only the first preference votes are considered. And if a candidate obtains, उसको मिलता है more than 50%, more than half, more than 50% of valid votes, he is declared winner. And if not, मतलब किसी को 50% नहीं मिला, and if not, then the candidate with least number of first preference votes is eliminated, बहुत बढ़िया, is eliminated, and the second preference of his votes are distributed among the remaining candidates and again a majority of 50%, actually majority means more than 50% votes is seen, and the process continues, process तब तक चलता है till a candidate wins. Now see, for example, I said, आप एक बात बताओ, do MLAs participate in the elections of president? तो तब से यही चल रहा है. Suppose a state assembly is suspended, will they participate in the election of president? बताओ सर, स्टेट असेंबली सस्पेंड है, विल दे पार्टिसिपेट? बिहार ऑल्सो, बोथ असेंबलीज वर सस्पेंडेड. मैंने बोला था आपको लास्ट टाइम, देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन गेटिंग सस्पेंडेड एंड डिसॉल्व्ड. अभी ये सस्पेंडेड है, डिसॉल्व थोड़ी ना है. So even if an assembly of a state is suspended means they cannot work as legislature, but still they are there. We acknowledge their presence as MLAs. तो वो वोट डाल सकते हैं प्रेसिडेंट के इलेक्शन में. Who knows they were suspended for wrong reasons? है कि नहीं है? So they can vote. ये याद रखना. Yes. वही तो बताया मैंने आपको अभी. And I explained that previously also when I was discussing that in president rule, when it is done, executive is gone automatically, but the state legislature is only suspended. With a separate proclamation they can dissolve it. तो जब तक वो dissolve नहीं होता and there is a presidential election, they can take part in the presidential election. Now who is the returning officer in the election of president? Who conducts the election of president? सर बताओ कौन कराता है? इलेक्शन कमिश्नर और इलेक्शन कमीशन और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया. सुप्रीम कोर्ट क्यों कराएगा इलेक्शन? सेकंड ऑप्शन दिया तो उन्हें चूज करके रहना है उसको. इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया. इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया conducts the election for the president. And who is the returning officer? You know what is returning officer? Returning officer is a senior officer who overall manages the election. वो पूरा election management वही करता है. I'll take that in detail when I take elections. Returning officer is an officer who actually manages the whole election individually on ground. Now, in the case of भाई election of president is to be managed or not? उसको manage तो करना पड़ेगा ना. Arrangement सारे करने पड़ेंगे नहीं करने पड़ेंगे. And he takes the nomination form also. Returning officer is the सेक्रेटरी जनरल ऑफ लोकसभा और राज्यसभा. ये दो सीनियर सिविल सर्वेंट होते हैं. सेक्रेटरी जनरल इन लोकसभा और राज्यसभा बोथ आर सीनियर IAS ऑफिसर. एक्चुअली दे आर नॉट IAS ऑफिसर्स, दे आर सीनियर सिविल सर्वेंट्स, बट इफ यू सी दे आर IAS ओनली. IAS को ही बनाते हैं ये लोग. ठीक है सर. सेक्रेटरी जनरल लोकसभा और राज्यसभा बोथ आर सीनियर सिविल सर्वेंट. They are acting as returning officer in the case of election of president or vice president in rotation. Rotation में होगा. For example, if he, Secretary General Lok Sabha, acted as a returning officer in the elections of president, then in the next election which is going to come, whether of president or vice president, who will be the returning officer? राज्यसभा का, and again Lok Sabha, again Rajya Sabha. This way they keep on rotating as returning officer in the elections of president and vice president. लिखो, Secretary General of Lok Sabha and Secretary General of Rajya Sabha are the ex officio ex officio. What is the meaning of ex officio? Ex officio मतलब by the virtue of being something you become something. क्योंकि आप A हो तो you will also be B. जैसे कि ex officio मतलब देखो, जैसे कि whosoever is the vice president of the country, he will automatically become the chairman Rajya Sabha. So vice president is automatically the chairman of Rajya Sabha. So vice president is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. क्योंकि वो vice president है, वो ये भी है. समझ रहे हो सर? सेपरेट इलेक्शन नहीं होगा उसके लिए. यही चीज आपने लिखी है अभी. Write down. Ex officio returning officer means because these officers are the Secretary General of Lok Sabha or Secretary General of Rajya Sabha, they will automatically act as returning officer of election of president or vice president. They will manage the election. ठीक है सर? देखो, ex officio returning officers of presidential and vice presidential election, they take turns. नंबर लगाते हैं. They take turns to preside over. They take turns to preside over the presidential and vice presidential elections. The presidential and vice presidential elections. Nomination paper of what is the security deposit for presidential election? कितना? 15 या 20,000? Write down. The nomination paper of president, the nomination paper of presidential candidate, nomination paper of presidential candidate shall be proposed by. जब तक उनके नाम को कोई प्रपोज नहीं करेगा, you cannot contest. For example, APJ Kalam, his name was proposed by whom? बीजेपी लेजिस्लेटर्स. बीजेपी ने उनको प्रपोज किया था नाम को. ओके, हाउ मेनी पीपल प्रपोज द नेम? 50. एमपीज और एमएलएज? एमपीज और एमएलएज कोई भी कर सकता है. ओके, इफ आई हैव टू कंटेस्ट द इलेक्शन, 50 legislators, they can be MPs or MLAs, they must propose my name and another 50 should support their proposal. 50 लोग मेरा नाम प्रपोज करेंगे और उसके पीछे 50 और उस प्रपोजल को सपोर्ट करेंगे, तभी आई कैन कंटेस्ट द इलेक्शन. ठीक है सर? राइट डाउन. द नॉमिनेशन पेपर ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट कैंडिडेट shall be proposed by not less than 50 legislators or electors and shall be seconded by shall be seconded by another 50 electors. Now if there is a dispute, अगर कोई dispute हो गया regarding presidential election, somebody raises a finger, ये चीज तो गलत हुई है, he should not become president, or the voting did not take place properly, can court enter into the dispute? Yes, Supreme Court hear the dispute. मगर एक बात बताओ, for example, I won the election of president, later on Supreme Court declared my winning nullified. ये जो जीते थे भाई साहब, ये गलती से जीत गए थे, और there was some mismanagement in the election of the president, and that was 4 months of me being into office. 4 महीने ऑफिस में रहने के बाद सुप्रीम कोर्ट डिक्लेयर दैट my victory was not justified, and in those 4 months I took number of decisions also. ये इस बिल को एसेंट दे दी, उसको दे दी. Will now my actions be undone or not? They will be valid. Whatever work I did as president for those 4 months before my election was invalidated will remain valid. What is the reason? President of India is only a nominal head of executive. He is almost working on the advice of COM. So he is not doing anything on his own. Whatever he is doing on the advice of COM, Council of Ministers. So इसलिए we will not undo his action because those actions were not done by him. They were done by the Council of Ministers. और वो तो validly है ना अपने ऑफिस में. They are validly doing their work. Since President is a rubber stamp kind of, he's a nominal authority, सिर्फ दिखावे की authority है. Even if he entered into office on wrong grounds, let continue with his work. Understood this or not? समझ में आई ये बात आपको? Write down. The disputes relating to President's election are heard by Supreme Court, whose decision is final and binding. In case the elections of president is declared void, VOID, nullified, void by Supreme Court on any grounds, the decisions taken on his name prior to that shall not become invalid on this ground. सर आर्टिकल 60 क्या है? ओथ. 60 में ओथ दिलाई, 61 में इंपीच कर दिया. आर्टिकल 61 इज द इंपीचमेंट ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट. लिखो सर, इंपीचमेंट. आर्टिकल 61, इंपीचमेंट ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट. Sir, what is the total strength of Lok Sabha? And Rajya Sabha? See, President is impeached on how many grounds? एक ही ground है. Violation of Constitution. He commits a murder, you cannot remove him on the grounds of murder. He commits any other crime, you cannot remove him on the grounds of that thing. You can remove only on the grounds of violation of Constitution. ये जबरदस्ती की technicality है. Because if he has committed murder, he has actually violated Constitution only. मगर सवाल ये उठता है, whether an action of the President is a violation of Constitution or not, who will decide this? भाई इन्होंने for example his president and he committed a murder, will that be actually a violation of Constitution or not? ये तो हम बोल रहे हैं. Who will say that this action of the president was violation of the Constitution? Who will say this? Parliament. Parliament will decide whether a particular action of the parliament president is actually a violation of constitution or not. कोई fixed list भी नहीं है that this is the list. समझ रहे हो? It's a legislative prerogative. अब the process starts. See, for example, president has committed an action, whatever action that is. For example, corruption. You can be corrupt while in office of president also. पुणे में बहुत बड़ा फार्म हाउस ले लिया on the defense land. Now see, है ना, आपने एक एक्शन किया जो नजरों में आ गया. What is the procedure to impeach the president? पहला सवाल ये, can we start the impeachment of president in राज्य सभा? बताओ सर, कर सकते हैं? Yes. You can start the process of impeachment of the president, मतलब removal of the president, but do not use the word removal. Impeachment मतलब impeachment ही होता है. Removal is an informal word. Okay. Impeachment of the president can start in any house of the parliament, whether it is राज्य सभा और लोक सभा. उनको हटाने की जो प्रक्रिया है वो कहीं भी शुरू हो सकती है, राज्य सभा में भी और लोक सभा में. Now let's assume a hypothetical example that we start this process in राज्य सभा. What is the first step? 14 days notice बाद में आएगा. First of all, at least 1/4 of the members of the house, that is यहां पे 245, should bring us a resolution. Resolution का मतलब क्या? You know, resolution means, क्या मतलब होता है resolution का? Intention of the house. House की ये मंशा है. The intention of the house is the resolution of the house. Now, first of all, do not write, listen, I'll dictate, लिखो मत, सुनो सिर्फ. First of all, whichever case, whichever house the resolution has come, it can come in Rajya Sabha. If it has come in Rajya Sabha, resolution हटाने के लिए, then it should be supported by at least 1/4 of the total membership of Rajya Sabha. If this resolution has come in Lok Sabha, it should be supported by the 1/4 of the total membership of Lok Sabha. If you have this much of support, then you proceed with the resolution of impeachment. अगर 1/4 लोगों ने पास कर दिया तो ठीक है. What is the next step? Notice भी तो देना है. 14 days notice to president. President आपको बता देंगे, सर you are about to get impeached, तैयारी कर लो. किस चीज की? जाने की नहीं, बचाने की खुद को. 14 days notice is given to him. Now 14 days notice तो दे दिया उनको, मतलब we have accepted the resolution of impeachment. वो प्रोसेस तो शुरू कर देंगे ना हम लोग. Now example, we introduce that resolution in not in लोक सभा, we introduce in राज्य सभा. राज्य सभा के लोगों के मन में ये बात आई, रेजोल्यूशन पास भी हो गया 1/4 लोगों से, 14 days नोटिस भी दे दिया. By what majority will राज्य सभा pass the resolution further? 2/3 of total membership of that house. And now in which house we have introduced the resolution? राज्य सभा. तो राज्य सभा की total membership कितनी है सर? 245. Means if and only if at least 2/3 of 245 people agree with the impeachment of the president, that process will be passed. Impeachment has actually been passed in Rajya Sabha. But that is not enough. After getting passed in the house in which it was introduced, the impeachment process will move to the other house. Now, ये process यहाँ आ गया. This house, let me tell you, will actually act as investigative house. Did you see? Did they investigate the charges on the president? No. They simply passed it. Because they must be feeling that हाँ ये गलत तो कुछ हुआ है. They must be having some grounds on which they said so. Okay. And their action was kind of a political decision. When you pass the bill, resolution to remove the president in Rajya Sabha or the first house, वो लोक सभा भी हो सकती थी. When you pass this in the first house, this is a kind of political determination. क्योंकि यू आर टेकिंग डिसीजन एज अ पॉलिटिशियन, आपने इन्वेस्टिगेशन तो कुछ किया ही नहीं. देन इट विल गो टू द अदर हाउस. अदर हाउस will investigate the charge either by themselves or they will hand over the case to some office. For example, वो CBI को दे देंगे, you please investigate, was he actually corrupt, did he actually murder somebody, आप पता का लगाओ. Other house will investigate that, and on the basis of the report which they receive after investigation, they will also approve or disapprove the impeachment proceedings, and this impeachment proceedings will be approved by the same majority, special majority. कितनी होगी majority? 2/3, at least 2/3 of 545. And if this is done, president is impeached. दोनों हाउस ने impeach कर दिया ना, इन्होंने तो पहले ही कर दिया था without investigating. Here he will be impeached. And let me tell you, before actually you impeach him, you give him due chance. ये पास करने से पहले, before you pass this impeachment in the house, you give him chance to put his statement to defend himself. आप एक chance उनको दोगे. उसके बाद, if you are satisfied with the defense, you may not pass it, and if you are dissatisfied with the defense, you pass it. अब आप एक बात बताओ, this action of Lok Sabha in this case or second house was a political action, executive action, or legislative action, or judicial action? This action of Lok Sabha or the second house, when they were impeaching, was a executive action, legislative action, or judicial action, or quasi judicial action? बताओ सर. Judicial. और judicial से भी अच्छा आप बोलो, it was a quasi judicial action. Why it was a quasi judicial action? बताओ. हाँ, you may answer. Tell. Because as a court क्या करता है? Court first investigates, or it allows somebody to investigate. On the basis of the report, it will give judgment. है कि नहीं है? This house got the charges investigated, and on the basis of the investigative report, they gave a pronouncement. Yes, he is guilty. And after that, they passed it also as politicians. तो quasi judicial हो गया, not completely judicial, not completely political. But this action was political. यहाँ तो कोई judicial action लिया नहीं इन्होंने. They did not investigate, or they did not let anybody investigate. हाँ सर. यही एंटी फेडरल फीचर है. दिस इज द, अरे हाँ रुको, दिस इज द एंटी फेडरल फीचर दैट स्टेट्स आर नॉट इनवाइटेड इन द इंपीचमेंट. जब उनको रिमूव, व्हेन इलेक्शन में आपने स्टेट्स को पार्टिसिपेट कराया था, देन यू शुड एक्चुअली कॉल देम इन द इंपीचमेंट आल्सो, बट दिस इज नॉट डन. है ना? बताओ आगे. कोई भी हो सकता है. अभी आई डिक्टेट द राइट वर्ड टू यू. ये तो आई जस्ट टेक एन एग्जांपल वेयर द proceeding was started in Rajya Sabha. Had this been started in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha would have investigated the charges. 2 months notice in civil case. Civil case where compensation is asked. आप पे केस चल रहा है, impeachment नहीं चल रही है. भाई आपकी वाइफ ने अगर आपसे मेंटेनेंस मांगी तो 2 महीने के नोटिस देके हम दिलवाएंगे उनको. ठीक है? अरेंज भी तो करना है पैसा. बोलो. यस, टोटल स्ट्रेंथ, इलेक्टेड और नॉमिनेटेड. हाँ, वही तो उन्होंने बोला था अभी कि स्टेट्स को एक्सक्लूड किया हुआ है हमने इसमें. यही तो अभी हमने डिस्कस किया था. दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रेंज एनॉमली. वी डिड नॉट अलाउ द स्टेट्स टू डू दिस. जब वो ऑफिसर हैं स्टेट्स के भी, तो उनको रिमूवल में भी स्टेट्स का हाथ होना चाहिए. हाउ कैन यू यूनिलेटरली डिसाइड दैट ही इज वायलेटेड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन? यही तो मैं कह रहा हूं, दिस काइंड ऑफ एनॉमली इन द सिस्टम. यू कैन नॉट जस्टिफाई दिस एक्शन. अगर आप लॉजिक से चलो तो आप इसको जस्टिफाई नहीं कर सकते. बिकॉज ड्यूरिंग इलेक्शंस आल्सो यू डिड नॉट टेक देम along with you. Right now you are involving them. हाँ जी सर. Yes. Suno, he says the house which starts the process of impeachment, there must be some substantial evidence to start it. Let me tell you, it is a political determination. Evidence hai ki nahi hai? On that basis only, 1/4 people will approve the introduction of the resolution. Passage nahi, introduction. किसी बेसिस पे तो ये 1/4 लोग एग्री करेंगे. Yes. Right on. Under Article 61, the impeachment of the president, under Article 61, the president is impeached, sorry. Under Article 61, the president is impeached by the parliament on the grounds of violation of the constitution, though constitution does not describe what acts of president, कौन से actions, what acts of president amounts to violation of constitution. It is therefore a political determination. ये एक राजनीतिक डिसीजन है. It is therefore a political determination. It can again become a question in prelims. Let me tell you, every word is a question in itself. Therefore, it is a political determination to be made by. Violation हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ है? It's a political determination to be made by parliament. To be made by the parliament. Change the paragraph. The motion seeking, SEEKING, motion seeking the impeachment of the president shall be introduced बताओ सर, which house? लोकसभा और राज्यसभा है? Both, either, can be introduced in either houses of the parliament. आप ऐसे लिखो, the motion seeking the impeachment of the president can be introduced in the form of resolution. ये word add कर दो. Can be introduced in the form of resolution in either house of the parliament. Can be introduced in the form of a resolution. Resolution means what? Intention of the house. In order to be introduced, introduce करने के लिए भी, in order to be introduced, what should be done? 1/4 majority होनी चाहिए ना. In order to be introduced, motion को चलाने के लिए भी, in order to be introduced, the resolution must be supported by. In order to be introduced, motion को आगे चलाने के लिए भी, in order to be introduced, the resolution must be supported by not less than, resolution must be supported by not less than 1/4 of the membership of the house. It will include elected as well as nominated. Total membership की बात चल रही है. 1/4 of the total membership of the house. The resolution can be taken up. आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं. The resolution can be taken up for passage. Resolution can be taken up for passage मतलब उसको पास करने के लिए. Resolution can be taken up for passage only after expiry of 14 days notice. 14 days notice issued on the president. paragraph change. The motion is passed by, motion of impeachment, of course, the motion is passed by a majority of not less than two-third of, बताओ सर, present or voting or the total strength? Total strength. Two-third of the total strength of the house, मतलब जितनी सीट्स हैं हाउस में, full capacity. Two-third of the total strength of the house. After it is passed, अगला step, after it is passed in that house, it is transmitted to the other house, दूसरे हाउस में जाएगा वो. It is transmitted to the other house, which acts as investigating house, छानबीन house, which acts as investigating house. That is, the second house investigates the charges against the president और may cause, या तो खुद करेंगे या किसी से करवाएंगे, और may cause the charges to be investigated. President has the right to defend himself or through an attorney before the second house. The functions performed by the second house are quasi-judicial in nature. After investigation, if the second house also passes the resolution by a majority of two-thirds of strength of the house, two-thirds of the total strength of the house, you write this, two-thirds of the total strength of the house, then the president stands impeached. प्रेसिडेंट साहब इंपीच हो चुके हैं. हाँ जी, आप बताओ, कैन जुडिशरी रिव्यू द एक्शन ऑफ पार्लियामेंट? If I am president and I have been impeached by the parliament, can judiciary review the action of parliament? मतलब भाई मुझे गलत ग्राउंड्स पे भी तो हटा सकती है जुडिशरी पार्लियामेंट. बताओ सर, आप बताओ, can judiciary review this action of parliament of impeachment of the president? You said yes or no? Answer is yes. Did I not give you this rule of thumb? दिया था ना मैंने इस क्लास में. I told you whatever is written in the constitution or whatever is written in Lakshmikant or whatever is written anywhere, actually if you see, judiciary cannot be prevented from reviewing almost every action in this country, administrative action. Judicial review of presidential impeachment is possible. ये याद रखना. अरे आप ये देखो, फर्स्ट अमेंडमेंट एक्ट ब्रॉट व्हाट? 9 शेड्यूल लेके आया ना फर्स्ट अमेंडमेंट एक्ट. व्हाट वाज 9 शेड्यूल? 9 शेड्यूल मींस शेड्यूल क्या है? एक लिस्ट है. 9 शेड्यूल मींस दैट these laws cannot be reviewed by judiciary. Judiciary इन laws को झांक नहीं सकती कि गलत है या सही है. But what judiciary said? अभी in 2006 what judiciary said? Judiciary said even if a law is mentioned in the 9th schedule, we can still review it. Because if you are preventing us from reviewing a particular law, you are actually taking away the power of judicial review. And judicial review is a part of basic structure of the constitution. This was said by the court in which case? Minerva Mill case 1980. So ये rule of thumb, देखो, you know why I said rule of thumb? This is actually, otherwise you will be mugging up also these facts. I said rule of thumb because tomorrow he might give you a question in prelims and you are not aware कि यार इसमें पता नहीं judiciary करता है कि नहीं करता है. Then chance तो लेना पड़ेगा. You take the chance in the favor of the power of judiciary to review. Judiciary को generally रोका नहीं जा सकता review करने से unless specifically it is said. और वो जहां जगह लिखा भी है ना, then also judiciary will find a way to review it. समझ लो? तो ये rule of thumb बना लो इसको सर. लिख लो इसको. There can be judicial review of the impeachment of the president. There can be judicial review of impeachment of the president. Who all apart from president are impeached? हाँ जी, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट और सुप्रीम कोर्ट जज. Nobody else? No one. Only and only. सिर्फ president is impeached. The remaining people are removed. Means if we remove the Chief Justice of India from his office through the parliamentary action, parliament तो remove करेगी ना इनको, that will not be called as impeachment, that will be called as removal. Only and only president is impeached, बाकी remaining are removed. अब सवाल ये है, impeachment of the president, बताओ सर, is it a legislative action or it is an executive action or it is a judicial action? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन तो ऑप्शन ही नहीं है यहां पे. बताओ सर, impeachment of the president is a legislative act, executive act or judicial act? जुडिशियल तो है नहीं है बिल्कुल भी. क्वासी जुडिशियल होता तो चलो फिर भी इट वुड हैव मेड अ सेंस. लेजिस्लेटिव एक्ट, इट्स अ लेजिस्लेटिव एक्ट. पार्लियामेंट कर रहा है इसको. ओके भाई, पार्लियामेंट इज इंपीचिंग हिम और नॉट, सो इंपीचमेंट ऑफ द प्रेसिडेंट इज अ लेजिस्लेटिव एक्ट. व्हाई आई एम सेइंग सो? बिकॉज इट इज अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ प्री, स्पेसिफिकली पूछता है वो. अब सवाल ये, रिमूवल ऑफ सीजेआई और लेट अस से सुप्रीम कोर्ट जज और लेट से अटॉर्नी जनरल और लेट से कैग को कौन हटाता है भाई? अब एक बात बताओ, द रिमूवल ऑफ दीज पीपल इज लेजिस्लेटिव एक्ट, एग्जीक्यूटिव एक्ट और जुडिशियल एक्ट? हाँ जी बताओ. लेजिस्लेटिव. क्यों? बिकॉज पार्लियामेंट इज रिमूविंग देम. देखो बताओ सर, आप बताओ. एग्जीक्यूटिव इज राइट. रिमूवल ऑफ दीज पीपल, सीजीआई, सुप्रीम कोर्ट जज, कैग, अटॉर्नी जनरल, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा, इट्स एन एग्जीक्यूटिव एक्ट. रीजन? दे आर नॉट रिमूव्ड बाय पार्लियामेंट, दे आर रिमूव्ड बाय प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया. और प्रेसिडेंट हिमसेल्फ इज पार्ट ऑफ एग्जीक्यूटिव. पार्लियामेंट का प्रोसेस चलेगा वो अलग बात है. They will be removed after a proper procedure in parliament. That's a different thing. But still, ultimately, who will sign their removal? President of India. And president himself is executive. तो इट इज एन एग्जीक्यूटिव एक्ट. समझ रहे हो? इट्स अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन द इम्पीचमेंट एंड रिमूवल. इम्पीचमेंट इज अ लेजिस्लेटिव एक्ट, whereas removal is executive act. Impeachment is more formal, whereas removal is less formal in comparison. Only president is impeached, the remaining are removed. ये done है. Now we move to a very critical area, which is very easy, but still it creates confusion in minds. प्रेसिडेंट साहब बिल को परमिशन देंगे कि नहीं देंगे? वी हैव टू सी दिस. अब इट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड इंटरेस्टिंग एरिया. कृपया ध्यान दें यहां पर. आफ्टर 15 मिनट्स यू विल हैव अ ब्रेक ऑल्सो. तो दिवाली बोनस हो गया. आफ्टर 15 मिनट्स अ ब्रेक ऑफ 15 मिनट्स, देन वी असेंबल, कंटिन्यू फॉर 1. देखो, I'll dictate. सिर्फ यहां फोकस करो. See, all the bills of the parliament which are passed by the parliament or not passed by the parliament can be broadly categorized in these areas. For example, one bill is this. Constitutional amendment bill passed under which article, sir? Procedure and power to amend the constitution. ये mention किया है ना? Now see, if parliament has passed a constitutional amendment bill, जैसे अभी GST bill, and then after full formalities it is sent to president for his signature, can he say no? No. No मतलब no. He is bound to give his assent. वो मना नहीं कर सकते, उनको पर हां करना ही पड़ेगा. ठीक है जी? अंडरस्टूड? अपार्ट फ्रॉम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट बिल, देयर इज अनदर बिल which is called as money bill. Which article? I'll tell you what is money bill, what is financial bill when we come to Lok Sabha. अभी आप ये समझ लो सिर्फ money bill. Money bill, if it is passed by Lok Sabha, and of course Rajya Sabha also has some role to play, limited role. If money bill is passed by the parliament and then it is sent to the president, is president bound to give assent to it? Yes. But only according to conventions. Nowhere in the constitution it is written that he is bound. समझ रहे हो? So he will give his, यहां तो बाउंड ही है फर्स्ट केस में. तो इन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट बिल ही इज बाउंड टू गिव हिज एसेंट. इन मनी बिल ही विल गिव हिज एसेंट बट ही इज नॉट बाउंड. बाउंड वर्ड कहीं यूज ही नहीं किया है, तो हम ये लिखेंगे ही विल गिव हिज एसेंट एज पर कन्वेंशंस. रिजेक्ट थ्योरेटिकली तो कर ही सकता है, बट वो करता नहीं है. तभी तो मैंने बोला एज पर कन्वेंशन ही गिव्स एसेंट. और रिकंसिडरेशन के लिए तो भेज ही नहीं सकता वो. थर्ड थिंग, ऑर्डिनरी एंड फाइनेंशियल बिल्स. मनी बिल भी एक तरह का फाइनेंशियल बिल ही है, बट फाइनेंशियल बिल हैज बीन कंसिडर्ड सेपरेटली. अब इसमें क्या होगा? चार चीजें हो सकती हैं. 4 थिंग्स कैन टेक प्लेस. Article 3, the changes in that will be done through a bill only. Will that be ordinary bill or a constitutional amendment bill? है क्या Article 3? Change in the name, area, boundary of the state is mentioned in Article 3. That is, a change will reflect in the constitution, but it is not a constitutional amendment bill under Article 368. ठीक है? Anyways, it was only an extra information. अगर bill है ordinary या financial bill, the bill is not constitutional amendment bill, the bill is not money bill. सिर्फ ये bill है. Only in this situation, President can have 4 options. पहला, he will give his sit. Second, he will say, no, I will not give my assent. इसको बोलते हैं, हाँ, वीटो. कौन सा वीटो? Absolutely right. Absolute veto. एक बिल आया, one bill was passed by the parliament, ordinary bill था, और that bill could have been financial bill, passed by the parliament, given to president, sir please approve it or please sign on it. President says no, I will not do. साफ साफ बोल देगा, I will not approve it. That time it means president has used what? Absolute veto. Veto का मतलब समझते हो? Veto is a Latin word. I forbid. मैं नहीं करता, मेरी मर्जी. Absolute veto. Now let me tell you, president will use absolute veto not on his own. He will not say I will not sign on his own discretion. He can reject signing a bill on the advice of Council of Ministers. Absolute veto का मतलब है I will say no, I will not give approval. But when I say so, I will not say on my own. I will say this on the advice of Council of Ministers. उनके कहने पे ही मैं मना करूंगा. But एक बात सोचो, you think yourself, when the bill was passed, they got the bill passed. Why will they tell the president, sir, do not sign on it? Why they will say this? Governments can also change. For example, this government is going on. They sent a particular bill for approval. अभी तक वो approve किया नहीं है president साहब ने. In the meantime, government changed. इसी पार्टी की right now Modi ji is there. It can happen that tomorrow Modi ji may leave the office. The party remains in power. Somebody else, Amit Shah, tomorrow he becomes the prime minister. In that case, वो तो जा चुका है ना president के पास. अब signature के लिए अभी signature आए नहीं है. In that case, Mr. New Prime Minister, he might tell the President, sir, please do not sign the bill which was actually got passed by my predecessor. पहले Prime Minister थे, अब मैं आ गया हूं, आप इसको पास मत करो. Because my approach is different from the previous one. So in that case, President will use absolute veto. सरकार बदल गई ना. Otherwise, why the same government will say no? ठीक है जी? Clear or not? What? Not necessarily. Unless the governor reserved the bill for the president. It's not that every bill passed by the state legislature is to be signed by the president. Only when the governor will reserve the bill for the presidential approval, तभी वो ऊपर जाएगा. We'll discuss that when we take up state legislature. ठीक है ना? ये बात समझ में आ गई? No confusion in this. Third option is withholding. He will say, इसको reconsider करो. For example, Parliament passed a bill. They sent the bill to the President. Sir, please sign on it. President said, the bill is ठीक है, but then there are some loopholes. Please consider my advices. Please consider my recommendation. And if possible, incorporate those changes in the bill. Reconsideration के लिए कौन भेज देगा? President. He will not sign in first case. He will send it for reconsideration. For example, APJ Abdul Kalam. He sent the bill back for reconsideration. Office of Profit Bill. The government passed the Office of Profit Bill. It went to APJ Kalam for signature. He used the third option. He said, please reconsider your bill and make changes if possible. समझ रहे हो? The bill can be sent back for reconsideration of the Parliament, and if Parliament passes it again, दूसरी बार भी Parliament ने पास कर दिया, then president will become bound to approve it. Magar when he sent the bill for the reconsideration of parliament, is he not using his discretion? और ये veto ही तो है एक तरह का. You asked me to pass the bill, I said no, please read it again. I am using my veto. What is the name of this veto? Suspensive veto means I suspended the bill for some time. Dismiss नहीं किया मैंने, suspend किया उसको थोड़ी टाइम के लिए, रोक दिया. Reconsider कर लो यार इसको एक बार. And if you have reconsidered, now I am bound to sign on it. Sir, ये clear आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? No duration. It has not been defined in the constitution. If it is up to the parliament, I send it for reconsideration. Now it is up to them for till what time they keep it. President is? Huh? If he will, yes, ये कह रहे हैं, he says, he sends for reconsideration. Parliament again gave the same bill to the president. नहीं sir, reconsider कर लिया, वो सही है. They sent again the same bill to the president for signature. What if president this time does not sign at all? क्योंकि time limit तो कहीं दी नहीं रखी है इसमें. Means now he is trying to use pocket veto. If he does so, you can start impeachment process against him because he is making misuse of his office. अरे आपको ये पावर दी, इसका मतलब थोड़ी ना तुम उसको यूज ही नहीं करोगे. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? यही तो है. Parliament can sense that president is doing this deliberately, and if they want, they can start the impeachment process. Fourth is president will do what? You pass the bill, you are parliament. यहाँ लोकसभा बैठी है, राज्यसभा है. You pass the bill came to me. Sir, sign कर दो. I did what? I picked the bill and put it in my pocket. खत्म. और वो पॉकेट इतनी बड़ी है कि मुझे याद भी नहीं आएगा कि बिल यहां पड़ा हुआ है. Indefinitely I will not take any action on it, on the bill passed by parliament. वो बिल पड़ा रहेगा मेरी टेबल पे. This action is called as pocket veto. And by this, the bill can actually be killed. Gyani Jail Singh used it in 1986 in Indian Postal Amendment Bill. ज्ञानी जैल सिंह ने यूज किया था पॉकेट वीटो 1986 के अंदर. राजीव गांधी wanted to pass this bill, Indian Postal Amendment Bill, by which they could actually put some restrictions on the freedom of press. प्रेस की फ्रीडम को कम करना चाहते थे. ज्ञानी जैल सिंह, it came for his approval. He did not take any action. वो पड़ा हुआ है तो पड़ा हुआ है. Later on, government also changed it. The bill got killed it got killed on the table of president. President ने कोई एक्शन ही नहीं लिया, indefinitely पड़ा हुआ है वो. This was pocket veto. Suspensive veto, I told you, President APJ Kalam, he used in the case of Office of Profit Bill. Absolute veto, has this been used ever? Use हुआ ही? Rajendra Prasad, in which case? Pepsu Bill. Patiala and East Punjab States Union Bill. Okay. हुआ है ना सर? Write down. हाँ, पंजाब एंड ईस्ट पंजाब स्टेट यूनियन बिल. बोलो सर. लास्ट पेज में, इसमें फोर्थ में, यहां नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि अभी तो आपने भेजा ही नहीं ना. तो यू कैन नॉट फोर्स द प्रेसिडेंट टू साइन इट इन विद इन अ टाइम लिमिट. मगर अगर एक बार भेज दिया था, हाँ यार, फोर्थ की तो बात कर रहा हूं. व्हेन इट इज लाइंग इन योर ऑन योर टेबल, यू नोबडी कैन फोर्स यू कि आप साइन क्यों नहीं करते हो, 10 दिन से पड़ा है आपके टेबल के ऊपर. नो, लिसन वेरी केयरफुली व्हाट ही सेज. 2 मिनट people start talking to each other. Every point can become a lead to your knowledge. He says, can the president be impeached if he uses pocket veto? दैट इज हिज प्रेरोगेटिव, वो तो उसकी डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर है पॉकेट वीटो यूज करने का. मतलब यू बिल हैज कम टू मी, ऑर्डिनरी या फाइनेंशियल बिल की बात कर रहा हूं, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट बिल और मनी बिल. ऑर्डिनरी बिल पास्ड बाय द पार्लियामेंट केम ऑन माय टेबल, आई डिड नॉट टेक एनी एक्शन फॉर डेज, इट विल गेट किल्ड, यहीं पे पड़ा, बिकॉज अनलेस आई पास इट, इट कैन नॉट बी इंप्लीमेंटेड, और मैं उस पर साइन ही नहीं कर रहा हूं, तो हाउ गवर्नमेंट विल इंप्लीमेंट इट? इट विल गेट डिसॉल्व्ड हियर इन इटसेल्फ. एंड यू कैन नॉट बाउंड मी विद इन टाइम लिमिट कि आपने किया क्यों नहीं, 10 दिन बीत गए, 2 महीने बीत गए, नो. बट इफ आई आस्क यू टू रिकंसिडर एंड अगेन इट केम बैक टू मी, अब अगर मैं साइन नहीं कर रहा हूं, देन आफ्टर सम टाइम एज पर योर विजडम यू कैन स्टार्ट अ केस अगेंस्ट मी, बिकॉज आई एम वायलेटिंग द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. भाई जब रिकंसिडरेशन के बाद आ गया, एज पर द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजंस इटसेल्फ, आई शुड हैव गिवन द परमिशन, बट मैं वो भी नहीं कर रहा हूं. इट मींस आई एम वायलेटिंग द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. सर अंडरस्टूड और नॉट? यहां नहीं होगा, मगर यहां हो सकता है. होगा या नहीं होगा वो अलग बात है, यहां हो सकता है, मैंने बोला. इट्स अप टू द पार्लियामेंट. When president uses pocket veto, it is abuse of office. Why I repeat the questions? Because somebody online also told me to do this. It is this reason, sir. Gyani Jail Singh did use this or not? Pocket veto use किया उन्होंने? Was he abusing his office? No. He used it for your welfare only. Press पे control हो जाता. तब सिर्फ हिंदू मिलता पढ़ने को, not Delhi Times. ठीक है सर, हाँ बताओ सर. नो नो, ही विल नॉट यूज 2 वीटोज साइमल्टेनियसली. नो नो. और वो डिक्लेयर भी नहीं करेगा कि मैंने पॉकेट वीटो यूज कर दिया. ही विल नॉट टेक एनी एक्शन ऑन इट. ठीक है ना सर? नाउ आई थिंक यू कैन हैव अ ब्रेक ऑफ 15 minutes, देन वी रीअसेंबल एट 4:15 एंड देन 1 hour, उसके 1 घंटे बाद. यू वांट द ब्रेक और शुड आई कंटिन्यू? चलो लिखो लिखो लिखो. I thought it is more scientific to have a break and then continue. लगातार चलाने से it is good for me. I'll be free जल्दी. लिखो. Parliament passes 4 categories of bill. Parliament 4 कैटेगरी के बिल पास करता है. Parliament passes 4 categories of bill. First, please read what you're writing. Very very important. First, constitutional amendment bill. Under Article 368, when presented to the President, he has no choice. He has no choice but to give his assent Second, when a money bill is presented, comma, as per the conventions, please underline convention, as per the conventions, comma, he shall give his assent. Convention के हिसाब से. Third, in case of ordinary and financial bills, he can have or he can exercise in case of ordinary or financial bills. Now what are these bills? I'll take up separately. In case of ordinary and financial bills, he can exercise any of the following 4 choices. He can exercise any of the 4 following choices. वो 4 choice क्या है? फर्स्ट, या तो वो एसेंट दे देंगे. फर्स्ट, he may give assent to the bill. He may give assent to the bill, and the bill becomes an act. And the bill becomes an act. Permission दे दी, bill law बन गया, becomes an act. Second, he may declare, वो घोषणा कर देंगे कि मैं नहीं देता. He may declare that he withholds. He may declare that he withholds the assent to the bill. This is absolute veto. This is absolute veto. As used by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who applied this on Pepsu bill. Pepsu, please take care of you. Pepsi मत लिख देना, Pepsu bill. Punjab and East Patiala States Union. East Punjab, sorry, Patiala याद आ रहा है, पता नहीं क्यों. Punjab and East States Union Appropriation Bill 1956. Second, इसी में कंटिन्यू करो. However, the president cannot apply absolute veto. However, the president cannot apply absolute veto on his own discretion. अपने आप नहीं लगा सकते वो, discretionary power नहीं है उनकी. On his own discretion, but only on the advice of the Council of Ministers. Only on the advice of the Council of Ministers. Third, he may refer the bill back. वापस भेज देंगे वो. He may refer the bill back for reconsideration. He may refer the bill back for the reconsideration of the Parliament. With or without suggestion? With or without his suggestion. वरना reconsideration का फायदा क्या है? With or without his suggestions. Means he can suggest also. With or without his suggestions. This is called as suspensive veto. Third option. This is called as suspensive veto. However, if the Parliament passes it for the second time, in original or modified form, then the President shall give his assent. And the fourth option, चौथा option ये है. Write down this also. President APJ Kalam used it in Office of Profit Bill 2006. Fourth option, President may allow the bill to lie on his table for indefinite period without his assent, called pocket veto. इसको बोलते हैं pocket veto. used by President Jail Singh in Indian Postal Amendment Bill 1986. Clear till now? No problem? हाँ जी बताओ, इज प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया हैविंग एनी डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर्स? डिस्क्रिशनरी का मतलब समझते हो? डिस्क्रिशनरी मीन्स यू टेक द डिसीजन इन योर ओन कैपेसिटी, नो बडी विल टेल यू व्हाट टू डू, आप खुद डिसीजन लो, आपकी मर्जी, डिस्क्रिशन. इज प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया हैविंग डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर्स? कोई बात नहीं, बोलो सर, यस और नो? यस. कोई आर्टिकल 1 to 3 is not discretionary powers, it is ordinance making power, but not in discretion. हाँ, 72 क्या है? Pardon. Is he doing pardon in his own discretionary? No discretion sir. 72 में कोई डिस्क्रिशन नहीं है. हाँ जी, यस, वेरी गुड. आई टेक दैट अप लेटर ऑन. वो थोड़ा डिटेल है तो थोड़ी देर में लेते हैं उसको, ठीक है? आर्टिकल 74 क्या चीज है बताओ? 74, एनीबडी, व्हाट इज आर्टिकल 74? आर्टिकल 74 क्या है? देयर शैल बी अ काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर to aid and advise the president. ये है ना आर्टिकल 74. But then आर्टिकल 74 also says president is bound by the aid and advice of the council of minister only when it has reconsidered its own decision once at least. ये देखो, they told him do this, he told them please reconsider your action. Now when he is using this kind of action of reconsideration, is he not using the discretion? Suspensive veto क्या है? Discretion ही तो है. I am telling you please reconsider this. This is nothing but what? Discretion. I will decide whether I should tell you to reconsider your action or I just approve it. ये मेरा discretion ही तो है. So sending the advice of the COM back for their reconsideration is my discretion. It is my discretionary power. Uniform Civil Code, I have to tell you, did I explain that in the class? Because somebody told me this query, online query hai ye. Did I not explain Uniform Civil Code? I'll take it. I mean, if possible today, but I don't think time is left. In the next class, I'll take. Okay. Or I do one thing, I just discuss the discretionary power. I explain the Uniform Civil Code. I give a small note on that and then we'll conclude. President तो आज वैसे भी खत्म नहीं हो पाएगा. In the next class I'll continue with president. ठीक है? Discretionary power समझ लो. See, discretionary power पहले लिखो, write down this thing. Indian president who is regarded as the constitutional head enjoys, please read every line, बहुत interesting और important भी है, enjoys some discretionary powers in following circumstances. in following circumstances. First, Article 74 President may send back the advice of the COM for reconsideration in his own discretion. In his own discretion. Example, suspensive veto. खुद लगाते हैं वो अपने डिस्क्रिप्शन पे. Also pocket veto. Also pocket veto. वो भी अपने मन पे ही करते हैं. Nobody tells him to do this. Okay. Article 78. What is it? 78 बताओ. Right to? It is the president's right to be informed. भाई देखो, I am president, you are parliament. Now what is going among the parliamentarians? How would president know? कैसे पता चलेगा उसको? The prime minister keeps telling the president, sir, this is all going on in the parliament. ये सब लड़ाई झगड़ा चल रहा है. ये कौन बताएगा? Prime minister. It may happen that the prime minister may not inform the president. In that case, president using Article 78 can ask the prime minister, please appraise me on a particular issue. ये जो GST bill चल रहा है, मुझे बताओ इसके बारे में. What's going on? Or what is your take on this? Okay. President can ask for any information available with the government. कोई भी information under Article 78. This is a right to be informed available with president. Write down, sir. Under Article 78, इसको पढ़ समझ के लिखना. Under Article 78, Prime Minister has the duty to inform the President about the affairs of administration and proposed legislations Therefore, President has the right to be informed, and using his discretion he can call upon the Prime Minister and ask for information. सर बताओ, प्रेसिडेंट कैन ही वार्न द पार्लियामेंट ऑल्सो? वार्निंग दे सकते हैं पार्लियामेंट को? लगता है सर आपको? मेंड योर वेज. कैन ही से सो? यस. कह सकते हैं सर, और कहा भी है. इफ यू रिमेंबर लास्ट ईयर द प्रेसिडेंट प्रणब मुखर्जी, he told to the parliament that please mend the way you conduct yourself in the parliament. Last year, 2 years ago, he told this to the parliament. You are wasting most of the time in unnecessary debates, or you are actually showing a conduct which is not expected from a parliamentarian at this level. Because see, 2-3 years ago, the parliamentarians were behaving in such a manner. Somebody is rising up to the podium of the chairperson and tearing off the paper. Gymnastics, they go, that's very high. But they jump that and they pull the paper. On one side, the chairperson is pulling the paper, छोड़ दो. Other side, they are pulling the paper और फट जाते हैं वो. Somebody is watching unnecessary content on mobile phone in parliament. Now, this kind of conduct was not expected from a parliamentarian. है कि नहीं है? President Pranab Mukherjee, he warned the parliament, this is not expected from you, maintain your behavior. ये उनका क्या था? Discretion था. Nobody told him to do this. He said on his own so that the culture of the parliament can actually be protected. Right now. He has the right to warn and encourage the parliament Is he using discretion in absolute veto also, sir? अभी तो मैंने बताया था, absolute veto is used not by his own self, is used on the advice of CUM. Very good. Then the next area where he can use a discretion is this Article 85. What is Article 85? Article 85 का मतलब है in between the two sessions of parliament, parliament के दो sessions के बीच में how much should be a gap? Maximum 6 months can pass between two sessions of parliament. पार्लियामेंट के दोनों सेशंस के बीच में 6 महीने से ज्यादा का गैप नहीं होना चाहिए. However, if but how many sessions we are having? 3. समर बजट और 3 ही महीने हैं. समर आगे, हाँ, ये ज्योग्राफी नहीं है. पहला है बजट, फिर मॉनसून, फिर नवंबर. अभी क्लाइमेट चल रहा है ना ज्योग्राफी में. आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड दिस, नो प्रॉब्लम. 85 3 सेशन होते हैं सर. बिल्कुल सही बोला आपने. बजट, मॉनसून एंड विंटर सेशन. सबसे छोटा सेशन कौन सा होता है? सबसे छोटा सेशन होता है विंटर सेशन. इट्स वेरी कोल्ड एंड द पार्लियामेंटरीज हैव टू कम होम अर्ली एंड हैव सूप. ठीक है. और सबसे लंबा, विच इज द लॉन्गेस्ट सेशन? बजट सेशन. इट गोज ऑन फॉर मंथ्स. ठीक है सर. लिखिए आर्टिकल 85. Houses of Parliament shall be summoned. Summoning means calling. Shall be summoned in such a way. Under Article 85, the Houses of the Parliament shall be summoned in such a way that not more than 6 months, lapse between the two sessions. Who summons the session of the parliament? President. Is he doing this on his own? Discretion पे करता है क्या? I think this is the time we should invite the session. No. When the session is to be called is told to him by Council of Minister. COM tells the President, sir, summon the parliament session. Time हो गया है. Suppose he come to know that actually nobody is asking him to call the session. कोई बुला ही नहीं रहा session. And 6 months are about to expire. Then he will use his discretion. And even if he is not told by the Council of Minister, he will himself call the house session. अगर COM नहीं भी बोल रहा है, he can invite the session of the house, provided he feels that 6 months between the two sessions of the house are about to expire. Write down. Normally the president summons the session. Normally the president summons the sessions of the parliament on the advice of Council of Ministers. On the advice of Council of Ministers, in the form of 3 regular sessions. In the form of 3 regular sessions. But if the COM does not advise the president properly, but if the COM does not advise the president properly, and in the process 6 months, 6 महीने बीत गए, and in the process 6 months passes between the two sessions. Then the president in his discretion can summon the houses of the parliament. Next. See, in 1996, that was a case. Highly political instability was seen that time. 1996, S.D. Sharma was the president. Shankar Dayal Sharma. Now, it happened that when elections results came, no party got clear majority. Kisi ko clear majority nahi mili. However, BJP was having more seats. BJP ke paas zyada seats thi, but still they were not in majority. Now, you have to decide. Even if no party has got majority, somebody has to come forward and make the government. Now, since no party could actually claim to be having a good coalition also, but you may yourself not be having a majority, but then you can ask the other parties, they support you, and with their support you can claim majority. But 1996 mein no party was actually able to show the coalition strength also, neither BJP nor Congress. In that case, Shankar Dayal Sharma, he could sense that there is a star who can actually form a stable government, and he called him from BJP. It was Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. उनको बुलाया 1996 में, सर आप आओ, आप गवर्नमेंट बनाओ. And when he was called, he did not even have the letter of support with him. Letter of support matlab, if I am claiming to form the government, I must have signature of the people who are supporting my becoming prime minister, or they supporting my party. वो उसके बिना भी, without even the letter of support, the president called Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, sir, you please come and you form the government, because I feel that only you can form the government in this situation. Because see, once you have letter of support, it is clear that people are with you. यहाँ तो सब oral चल रहा है मामला. But then see, he called him, and when he called him, is he not using his own discretion? Otherwise, he could have actually called somebody from Congress also. क्या आप आओ government बनाओ? But he called him because he thought that he might be able to form a government. बना तो दी no government. He became the prime minister also. But then, even in the coming 13 days, he could not prove his majority, nor he could form an alliance by which he can claim majority. वो fail हो गई उसको बनाने में. And then he resigned. Now again, अभी प्राइम मिनिस्टर तो बना के छोड़ेंगे ना हम लोग. Now again, he started to look for a next candidate. अभी ये नहीं बना पाए तो किसी और को तो बुलाना पड़ेगा. Then he called Devgowda. You come. And he came with a letter of support. आ तो जाओ, मगर एक letter of support साथ लेके आना that these people are with you. Okay? Means here, no party is winner. So he will use his mind who should be called to make the government so that he can form a stable government and the country can maintain its political stability and we avoid going to elections again. तो ये discretion कौन use कर रहा है? President. Same thing, Gyani Jail Singh. When Indira Gandhi, she expired 1984. Then Rajiv Gandhi was not the party president of Congress. वो party president नहीं थे. But still in that case, Gyani Jail Singh called Mr. Rajiv Gandhi that you sir please come and you form the government. He said, sir, I am not the party president of Congress. He said, no, I know that you can form the government, you come. It's my discretion, aap aa jao. And he formed the government. Now when he called Rajiv Gandhi to form the government, because election थोड़ी ना हारी थी Congress, PM change करना था सिर्फ. So he called Rajiv Gandhi ji, आप आओ, see power, become the prime minister. And he came, he became the prime minister. Understood? ये डिस्क्रिप्शन ही तो है, राइट डाउन। when no political party or coalition of political parties get a clear majority in Lok Sabha, then the president has a discretionary power to invite the leader of any political party, किसी को भी बुला सकते हैं, leader of any political party to come forward and form the government. Now see, again something happened that in 1997, later on he again came to power. 1997, NDA was ruling. It was almost a year and a half of their rule at center. 1997 में भी इनका rule चल रहा था, NDA at center. Somehow there was a coalition partner, AI, Jayalalitha ji. She was a partner in NDA, coalition partner थी वो भी. A vote of confidence was brought to prove that we are in majority. इन्होंने एक vote of confidence लेके आए. Jayalalitha pulled back at the 11th hour. नहीं हम इनके साथ नहीं है. And this government actually lost the majority in the house. एक coalition partner पीछे चला गया, AIDMK. By one vote they lost the vote of confidence and they had to surrender then. भाई majority खत्म इनकी. Then he asked the president, Mr. Vajpayee, he told the president, sir please dissolve the house. लोक सभा को dissolve कर दो because हमारी तो majority खत्म. He suggested the president to dissolve the house. Was president bound to accept his advice? No. Why not? सवाल ये है, when Mr. Vajpayee was not in majority that time, coalition partner तो पीछे चले गए, majority खत्म इनकी, but still he was the prime minister थोड़े दिन के लिए तो. He advised the president, sir dissolve the house, re-election करवा दो. Was president bound to accept the advice? No, because the prime minister who is telling the president, sir dissolve the house, is himself not in majority. Had he been in majority, he would have told the president, sir dissolve the house. वो एक अलग बात है. मगर अगर आप majority में नहीं हो, you cannot ask the president, sir dissolve the house. It is up to the president to decide. And when he told the president, sir dissolve the house, उन्होंने बोला ठीक है, let's dissolve Lok Sabha and let's call re-election. दोबारा re-election करवा दो. But then president did not take the decision of re-election on the advice of Vajpayee ji. He did so on his own. He could have rejected. उन्होंने वो बोल सकते थे, वाजपेयी जी आप रहने दो, there can be another party who can come and claim to form the government. But उनको दिख गया था that there is no one who can come and form a stable government. So he went on for re-election. हाँ जी, लिखें. President is bound to act. President is bound to act according to the advice of COM. इसी समझ के लिखना, write with understanding, then you will be able to understand more. President is bound to act according to the advice of COM in dissolving the Lok Sabha if only it enjoys, it means COM, if only it enjoys the majority in Lok Sabha. Otherwise, the president enjoys the discretion to dissolve or not to dissolve the Lok Sabha. Next, under Article 78C, what is it? Ligo, under Article 78C, the President can refer, please read what you're writing. Under Article 78C, the President can refer the individual decision of a minister for the collective consideration of the COM for enforcing the collective responsibility in Lok Sabha. For collective consideration of the COM for enforcing the collective responsibility in Lok Sabha. Mantri ji ने एक decision लिया, that was sent to the President. President sent it to the COM. See, he has decided on something. You also please go through it and approve it. Then only I'll approve it. Okay. I'll explain this when I'll take collective responsibility and individual responsibility. I'll take this in detail there. Next, if there is a caretaker government, caretaker matlab the regular government is not in place. For example, see, Vajpayee ji told the President, sir, I am unable to form the government. You dissolve the Lok Sabha. Aap election karwa do dobara se. Will he step down that day itself? No. He will step down from office till a new government comes in. Till the time he will act as a caretaker prime minister. जब तक नई इलेक्शन होने के बाद नई सरकार नहीं आ जाती, वो क्या बनने रहेगी? Caretaker government. Can caretaker government take decisions on their own? They will take decisions only in routine areas, not in critical areas. They cannot commit the government for financial dimensions. ये लिखो, write down. In case of a caretaker government, regular सरकार है नहीं, caretaker सरकार है. In case of a caretaker government, when only day-to-day administration, when only day-to-day administrative लिखो, when only day-to-day administrative decisions are required to be made, then it is the President who decides which are the decisions of necessity. Which are the decisions of necessity? Means what are the works that should be done by the caretaker government, what not to be done, will be decided by the President in his own discretion. Any problem till now? Whatever will be there, that will come once you read it again. घर जाके दोबारा पढ़ना, जो थोड़ा बहुत doubt है वो भी दिमाग से चला जाएगा. I'll take a little off track topic, but this is very important according to me, because question came previously also in mains, and this government also is relating much with Uniform Civil Code. तो ये मैं आपको बता दूं, and then I'll give you a very small note on this, and then we'll take a precedent in the next class, a kind of debate. Uniform Civil Code, बताओ सर क्या चीज है Uniform Civil Code? Case studies on civil services activism. I gave you one case study yesterday. दिया था ना? कौन सी थी? Armstrong Palme. Other also I gave you Kiran Bedi. Then I gave you TN Session. ये सारी केस स्टडी तो है और क्या है ये, दो यू विल गिव, आई विल गिव यू सम सॉफ्ट कॉपी ऑफ दीज थिंग्स ऑल्सो, वो अपने आप आ जाएंगी. ओके, यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड पे फोकस करें. यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड, इज इट पार्ट ऑफ डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी? Yes, it is one of the directive principles of state policy. Under which article? Article 44. Means constitution says to the government, you please bring uniform civil code. ये लेके आओ सर, uniform civil code. हाँ जी आप बताओ, do we have a uniform civil code? No. होता तो फिर issue ही क्या था? Right now we do not have a uniform civil code. But government wants to bring a uniform civil code. अब uniform civil code है क्या? Say this thing. Nothing against any religion. Remember this. Nobody should feel offended for anything. Sir, how many marriages allowed to you? Christians, Buddhists to of course one. डिवोर्स भगवान ना करे अगर हो तो इट्स अ tedious process for him because he is a Hindu. For a particular Muslim man, divorce is easy. क्या करना है बस, इतना जोर से मत बोलो, somebody might be married also. पता चला क्लास में तलाक हो गया. Here also it is very tedious. Here also very tedious. Now you see this thing that there is no uniformity और ऐसी adoption. Divorce भी सिर्फ ये नहीं है, maintenance ले लो. Maintenance. Once you divorce your spouse, I mean you can be female also, आपने husband को divorce दे दिया, then you are bound to give maintenance to your husband or wife in Islam. आपको maintenance देनी है. You should give maintenance, but that maintenance is only meager, one time. Meager maintenance, okay? I don't know. Now see, you see, there is no uniformity. Uniformity तो नहीं है. Every religion is conducting its own affairs regarding marriage, divorce, maintenance, adoption, inheritance of property. Every religion is guided by its own personal laws in these cases of marriage, divorce, maintenance, adoption, inheritance of property. We do not have a uniform personal law. Religion by religion vary करता है. अब आप ये देखो, if a Muslim man he commits a murder, will he have a sentence which is lesser or more than a murder committed by a Hindu man? No. वहां same है. We have a uniform criminal law. If you have committed a crime, then same law will apply irrespective of the religion. Even we have a uniform civil code if you see that way. For example, if I have to transfer my property, if I have to sell my car, I am a Hindu. If he sells a car, a Muslim, will different rules apply? No. वहां भी rules same होंगे. Means criminal law will apply uniformly on all. Civil laws will also apply uniformly on all in most of the areas. But a specific area of the civil area will vary from religion to religion. और वो एरिया कौन सा है? वो एरिया ये है. Marriage, divorce, maintenance, adoption, inheritance of property. How it will be governed vary from religion to religion. Got this point, sir? अब ये देखो, what happened? ये एक real incident है. So I am telling you this. I don't know. I just remember that I have discussed this in this class. But आप कह रहे हो तो Many people, are you aware of this incident? This lady belonged to a village in Uttar Pradesh. She was a Muslim lady. Okay. Now see, she got married to a soldier, army soldier. In the Kargil war, he got disappeared. गायब भी हो जाते थे. And she waited for the husband to come back for 5 years. 5 साल तक तो आए नहीं वापस. Now somebody who has not returned for 5 years, you expect him to be dead? और particularly कारगिल वॉर पे जो गया है तो मुश्किल है बचना उसका. She remarried. She got remarried to a new man and she got pregnant also. Meanwhile, completely a filmy story, her original husband, first husband, came back. वो भी वापस आ गया. Now she is having 2 husbands or not? Because she did not divorce anyone. Now it's a complication. For whom? For the whole community. अब गुड़िया को किसके पास भेजे? ये किसकी जिम्मेवारी थी? ये गुड़िया की जिम्मेवारी थी कि नहीं थी? To whom, with whom she wanted to stay should have been her own prerogative or not? After all, she is not an object. She was a woman. But then the community decided, as per the Sharia laws, she should actually be remarried to a third person. Then she must get a divorce. Then only she can come back to her original husband. अब ये trauma नहीं है. You are adding to her trauma. Already she is confused between 2. You are bringing the third dimension also. And you are forcing her that you have to accept our decision. जो हम बोलेंगे तुम्हें वो करना है. You want to stay with the first or the second, that's none of our business, should not be your business also. And the trauma went to the extent that she actually died with the baby in her body out of that mental trauma. अब कितनी pathetic सी बात है. This decision would not have been very difficult in some other religion. वहां पे तो simple laws थे, उनको follow करो and decision done. Another case, a woman again in Uttar Pradesh, remote area, Muslim woman, she was sexually assaulted by her father-in-law. Now, you are actually the victim of one of the gravest crime to human possible, rape. She filed a complaint. Community against it, फिर पंचायत बुला ली. They first of all pointed fingers on her. तुम्हारी गलती थी. Then they told her, as per the laws of the community or the religion, you should now first get married to the friend of your father-in-law. You have to spend some time with him. Again you will get purified because of that. अब ये strange सा logic नहीं है. Already somebody has gone through a trauma. You are adding to the trauma or not? A problem ये नहीं है that this is only with one religion. This is seen across religions. Hinduism also, you have number of provisions by which a lady can be exploited. Though slowly few changes are coming up here which has prevented this exploitation. But conclusion ये है that when you have laws across religions which vary, and that can go against the interest of only one community, which is the female gender, in that case we should end this disparity. If one community is following a law which are highly unscientific, which are out of sync of the modern values, they should be removed by or they should be replaced by a modern scientific code or rules or not. And not only should we replace the laws in that community only, we should have a disparity all across the society. But if one law is humane for Hindus, it should be humane for Muslims also. It should be humane for Christians also. Why there is a variety? Reason is this: variation will help male dominate over female. Only if, I can use this as a disguise to exploit the lady. How can I see Gudiya to take her own decision? After all, I am the community head. मैं चाहूँगा क्या? No. This will ensure that I keep exploiting women. If I can divorce the wife so easily, will I not use it as a facility? It should be ended. Because if this is allowed, you are actually seeing women or wife as a inferior citizen or not. And moreover, it also casting a doubt on the वैलिडिटी ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ मैरिज. और उससे भी बड़ी बात, चलो डिवोर्स दिया तो दिया, मेंटेनेंस नहीं दे रहे हो आप लोग. इफ आई डिवोर्स माई वाइफ, I should ensure, moreover when she is illiterate, she is poor, she is aged, I should ensure that she must get a minimum money also. वो खुद तो कमा नहीं सकती. This case actually come up in this thing. Shahabano case, this happened. Shahabano was an old lady who got divorced by her husband for very small frivolous reason. And she was aged also. And she was not literate also. She was poor. कहाँ से पैसा लाएगी? Husband said तलाक 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 3 times, done. Maintenance also 1 time, that too very meager amount. How will she survive for the remaining life? और बच्चे भी साथ. She filed a complaint. She filed a litigation in the court. Please give me justice, sir. I will not be able to survive. This is violation of my right to dignified life. Court said yes. Husband should not give easy talaq. Chalo, we will not interfere in the matter. If you have given talaq, you should give her maintenance also, which as per the Sharia law is not allowed. Court ne kiske favor mein judgment diya? Shahabano. They were actually asking the community that you bring scientific laws in the area of marriage, divorce, adoption, inheritance. Naye law leke aao, scientific. But then protest erupted. Protest to hona hi tha. When you give a judgment whereby you ask the men, when you divorce your wife, you give her maintenance, protest to ho gayi. Bhai kitne sare men hai jo nahi dena chahenge maintenance. So they were vote bank also. Government brought what? They brought a law. Protection of women. नाम देखो क्या दिया? Protection to women. Protection against divorce. ये नाम दिया उन्होंने बिल का. Means they were bringing a law which apparently was to protect women on divorce. मतलब government said we are bringing a law which will give protection to women against divorce. But you know what was the main provision of the law? इस बिल का राजीव गांधी जी जो लेके आए थे उसका मेन प्रोविजन क्या था? उसमें कुछ ये what was the intention behind the law? You know, it was to nullify the judgment of the Supreme Court. शाहबानो judgment जो आई थी उसको काटने के लिए लॉ लेके आए थे. They named it as protection of women against divorce bill, but actually intention थी they wrote कुछ, they gave some provision, छोटे मोटे benefit दे दिए, and they wrote explicitly in one of the provisions that women after divorce is not entitled to get maintenance. Maintenance खत्म कर दी by law. They actually took back a step which was initiated by the court in the direction of having a uniform law on the area of marriage, divorce, adoption, on inheritance. एक uniform civil code आने वाला था, but government ने उसको वापस खींच लिया. And this story remains true right now also. Till now we are not having a common law which will apply across religions in the area of कौन से? Marriage, divorce, adoption, inheritance and similar cases. अभी इस पे article भी आया था. In Indian Express there was a big article on uniform civil code. A judge, former judge of Supreme Court, he wrote that first of all it should not be named uniform civil code. It should be named uniform personal code. Because what we are talking about is not civil areas. Many civil areas are codified right now also and they apply equally on all the religion. जो variation आ रहा है वो तो सिर्फ 4-5 areas में आता है. What are those areas? यही marriage, divorce, adoption. So we should remove this variation. Sir, you agree with this or not? You understood this or not? Why should we remove it? Because if we have a common law in the area of marriage, divorce, adoption, inheritance, it will bring relief to whom? Women. Then you cannot use the Sharia law or whatever law as your shield to bring actions which are actually against the interest of a lady like Gudiya. Imagine the trauma she must be going through. ठीक है sir? Understood? Any doubt? Write 2 lines on it. Uniform Civil Code, a DPSP, it is not part of President. I am saying so because it was to be discussed earlier. Uniform Civil Code, a DPSP under Article 44 means, please read, that all the sections of society, means that all the sections of society, irrespective of their religion, shall be treated equally according to a national civil code which shall apply uniformly to all. Is there any state where we are having a uniform civil code? Goa. Only Goa has this provision. Write down. But we want to bring it at a national level so that we can impose it on other states also. Civil code covers areas. Civil code covers areas like marriage, divorce, maintenance, inheritance, succession of property, and adoption. Succession of property and adoption. UCC, वो Uniform Civil Code, will enhance the status of women as per Supreme Court. सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कहना है, एज पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट, मैरिज, देखो कितनी अच्छी लाइन बोली सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने, एज पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट, मैरिज, सक्सेशन, adoption, etc. are secular in nature. इनका रिलीजन से क्या लेने देना है, ये तो सब लोग करते हैं. Are secular in nature and therefore, and they are basic human activity also, and therefore state मतलब government, state can regulate them, and therefore state can regulate them equally for all, as they are not religious matters, as they are not religious matters, and therefore not a violation of article, which article? 25 and 26. शाहबानो के इसमें ये लिख लो, many aspects of civil rights are already codified under the Civil Procedures Code. एक क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर कोड है, दिस इज सिविल प्रोसीजर कोड. अंडर सिविल प्रोसीजर्स कोड, एविडेंस एक्ट, ट्रांसफर ऑफ प्रॉपर्टीज एक्ट, which applies equally to all, irrespective of religion. But a few others but a few others like adoption, divorce, marriage, maintenance, adoption, divorce, marriage, maintenance are not. शाहबानो केस के ऊपर 2 लाइन लिख लो, जस्ट राइट 2 लाइन्स ऑन शाहबानो केस. शाहबानो केस, शाहबानो पहले लिखा था बोर्ड पे. शाहबानो केस, स्पेलिंग बताऊं सर? शाहबानो केस, she claimed maintenance from her husband after talaq. Supreme Court said she and other Muslim women have the right to get maintenance. It caused nationwide protest. Therefore the government overturned, judgment को पलट दिया, overturned the Bano case decision by bringing a law. Overturned the Bano case decision by bringing a law, और उस लॉ का नाम था ये, देखो नाम कितना अच्छा दिया, मुस्लिम विमेन राइट टू प्रोटेक्शन और डिवोर्स एक्ट. ये एक्ट देखते ही सारे विमेन खुश हो जाएं, अब बच गए हम लोग. मुस्लिम विमेन राइट टू प्रोटेक्शन ऑन डिवोर्स एक्ट 1986, which actually dismissed the right of a Muslim woman, which actually dismissed the right of a Muslim woman to get maintenance after divorce. Clear? This is for the कम्युनिटी. किसका पार्ट है? रिलीजन का. अरे लिसन टू, हाँ कम्युनिटी क्या है? आइदर दैट कम्युनिटी विल बी अ पार्ट ऑफ हिंदूज और मुस्लिम्स. अच्छा दैट ठीक है. रिलीजन ट्राइब्स को हम नहीं करेंगे. सी बाय यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड वी आर नॉट रेगुलेटिंग द ट्राइबल वे ऑफ लाइफ. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ट्राइबल्स आर फ्री to have polygamy also, they can free to have polyandry also. उनको हम नहीं करेंगे unless they are registered as Hindus or